All right, so we are live with Isis Spann. This is Chris Stewart. This is the first time that I'm doing this, Facebook Live. You're my first conversation, so I'm so happy to have you with me because, like I told you just a minute ago, maybe you'll take it easy on me since it's the first conversation. But hey, I wanted you on the show because you're an educator, and many of us are at home with our kids right now. We're trying to figure out what exactly is the right thing to do with our kids to keep them learning and keep things moving that are being interrupted right now. You were just telling me a minute ago that we're not alone, that even you as an educator at home, you have to think these things through just like the rest of us. Tell me a little bit about like what your approach starting out and what you're doing now.
Right. So when we first got the news that we would be out, I automatically went into unschool mode. Like I was like, okay, Monday to Wednesday, we're not doing anything. Like you all get on YouTube, you can watch Netflix until you fall asleep. Like there's no schedule, there's no structure. I don't even want to talk about school. Thursday, last Thursday, I was like, okay, I'll do a 9 to 2 schedule. And I had it all planned out. I shared it with other people. And I'm just not very to the T, very structured. I wasn't even like that as a classroom teacher. Like I just hated that reading had to be at 8:30 every day and math had to be at 9:30. Like I didn't like that. So for my home schedule, I kind of made it to where math was in the morning and it was just on the computer. And then I would teach a lesson and then they would like research their careers from 10 to whatever. And then we would do just like a craft, and then we would do lunch, and then we would do recess, and then we would do reading. So that was Thursday. So Thursday, Thursday afternoon, I was already like, this is not gonna work. Like we're way too close to the kitchen, so you always want water. Why are you at the table without a pencil? It's math time, so why are you asking me what we're doing right now? Like it was just like it was a shock to them, I would say, because they're used to, okay, I come home, I do 20-25 minutes of homework, and I'm free to live my life. Now you want me at the kitchen table for X amount of hours, doing an assignment, doing what you want me to do as my mom teacher now, plus what my teacher has in Google Classroom. I have access to all of my toys. I have access to all of my favorite snacks. I have access to everything. Like this is not gonna work. So by Friday, this past Friday, I was like, okay, we'll come in, we'll do Khan Academy. Just ask me if you need anything, and we'll do more like virtual. Like I'll let you watch things on YouTube and respond to it. Like I'll let you listen to a book on YouTube and then respond. We'll do a Black History lesson and we'll talk about it. And that worked better than this is your worksheet, this is your whatever, this is your assignment, because it just didn't flow. It didn't flow. And me trying to turn my kitchen table into a classroom just didn't work. So I scratched all of that.
And when you say it didn't work, what didn't work?
It was just, like I said, they just had access to too many different things. Like when they're at school, you have access to your material in the classroom. You eat when you go to the cafeteria, and that's it. But at home, it's just like, I'm 5 steps away from the pantry. So if my mom goes and walks away, let me go grab a snack and come back.
You know what? That's something that people don't talk about because I'm gaining weight.
Yeah.
I'm seriously gaining weight at home right now with these kids at home.
You have to wear jeans, Chris. Like
that's good advice to parents. Get out of those sweats.
Get out of the sweats.
Okay, there you go.
And it will make you feel like that cookie didn't matter. And
that's true. That's true.
I was like, look, I have to wear jeans. No more. I can't wear leggings every day. I can't wear my sweats every day because it makes me feel like, okay, I haven't gained any weight. And I know, I mean, hey, you with the kids all day, and yeah, you're just not used to it. So what I was saying was that like this week, I made a decision. We're moving to 90 minutes of homeschool.
90 minutes a
And
day for the full day?
90 minutes a day for the full day.
Okay.
And what I will do, and when I say 90 minutes, I mean 90 minutes of direct instruction from me. So they will have access to their Google Classroom, to Khan Academy, to Brain Pop. They'll have access to all of those things, but I'm not doing a 9 to 2 schedule.
You're not. Why are you not doing that?
Because it doesn't work so I'm a mom of 4.
Wow.
I have 2 third graders, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Right. And I'm still the program director for a nonprofit, and I'm still a business owner. So realistically, I can't teach from 9 to 2 because my 3-year-old isn't having that. And my 1-year-old isn't having that, right?
Wow.
I still have to change diapers. I still have to change spit. Like, those are things that I still have to do. So realistically, I can't teach from 9 to 2. So that's why I'm saying, okay, I'm going to put 90 minutes solely invested on direct instruction, small group. It's only 2 of them. But what do you need? And in this 90 minutes of time, it could be 60 minutes of this, or it can be, I'm going to eventually break that 90 minutes up so that it's not even like, I'm not even talking 8 to 9:30. I'm talking 8 to 8:20. I do this with you. You go do your own thing. 9:20 to 9:45. I do this with you. You go do your own thing. By 2 o'clock, we're done. Whatever didn't get completed, you can do it on your own. You can do it tomorrow, but that we're completely done. And I have found that when I am more mom than teacher, they respond differently. So even though I want you to do this assignment, I'm going to do it with you, and I'm going to still guide you versus okay, here's your assignment, do it, and then kind of walk away type thing. Like
you feel like if you take the teacher voice with them, they respond one way. If you just do like, hey, this is informal, we're just parents, they act better with the parent side. If you do it the parent way, really.
They do. They respond better because and I guess for me, because I am an educator, when I do get into teacher mode, it's like, you must do this, and you have to give your all to it, or we're gonna have a problem. But as mom, I'm kind of like, okay, what do you need? Like, is this something that you did learn in school? Like when I'm the teacher, it's like, okay, I automatically expect you to know this and to get this done. But as your mom, it's kind of like, I wasn't there in the classroom, so I don't know what you do and don't know. I'm a little more, and it's weird for me.
Because you're an educator.
Right. And the teacher role is kind of like, let's get this done. Like, but in that mom role, it's like, I'm a little more caring. I'm a little more.
What's interesting to me about that is I feel in some ways like a first year teacher, because I'm trying to find my voice with my kids. Like, as they're sitting down, what you're saying right now is something I've struggled with. Should I be more of the teacher? Should I have more of that voice? The way that we parent in my household is really kind of indulgent, just to be, and we're figuring that out right now. As a matter of fact, we're pretty indulgent parents. And so like if something goes wrong, or if your kid gets something wrong, or if they're frustrated, or they drop their pencil or something, like, our first instinct is oh, baby, listen, it's not that bad, blah, blah, very therapeutic type of sense of being, not the way I grew up at all, right? Just we're doing things a little bit differently than the way that we did them before. And somewhere in the middle of the week, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm getting these messages back from Khan Academy telling me what things that they're doing well on, which questions they struggled with, and like just a couple of little hints or whatever that they send you. And I'm thinking through, like, how do I address this the next day? Like, we're going to work on this thing that you didn't do well on, So I haven't found like that voice yet, because it feels like I thought in the beginning I have to use more of the teacher voice, or else you know, they're going to think it's
I
dad.
will say, right. And I will say, to clarify, it depends on your kid as well. So when I say I'm supportive, but my expectation is still high. So as your teacher, and even in the classroom, my expectation for my kids were very, very high, but it was very like, okay, if I say you need to sit and you need to do this for 15 minutes, you need to do it. No questions asked. It needs to be done. With my kids, with one of my kids, I can say you need to sit and you need to read for 15 minutes. It must get done. But for the other one, I have to say you need to sit and you need to get this done for 15 minutes, or I will do this to you.
and what's the I will do this to you? What is it exactly?
Right? Yeah, we can talk about that.
Because I don't have a good threat except for, you know, or else I'll be very disappointed. You know?
This might not work.
Yeah, I know. I got northern children, you know, my children are in the north.
So just like you have to know, just like as teachers, every one of our students was different. Right. So when we talk about our kids, every one of our kids is going to be different. You know that kid, if you walk away, they're going to continue to do their work at the table. You also know that kid, if you walk away, they're going to go and get a snack and they probably be back at the table by the time you get back. But they're just different conversations that we have to have. And I think that's what I noticed too with the schedule. It worked well for one of my kids, but not for the other. So I had to kind of figure out, okay, this kid doesn't really want to do a craft time, but the other kid does. But this kid doesn't really want to listen or watch this video about Black history, but this kid does.
Is it okay for us to just wing it day by day? Like, you know, so what I started with my kids was we for sure going to start with math every day. And you're going to do 40 minutes of math. And then we're going to do 40 minutes of language arts, either reading or the grammar exercises that they have in Khan Academy, or one of their language arts things, something that is involved with that. And then the rest of the day is free for all. You've got, but you still have to have time zones. So we're making them like you got to go outside. You got to get some fresh air. You got to go bounce the basketball, ride your bike, ride your scooter, do whatever. And you got to do something artistic. So something like you either got to do music or something like this. We're pulling up things like yoga tapes. Lord knows I'm not into yoga, but just different things that they can do like that. But I felt like if we didn't keep the same schedule every day, that all hell would break loose. Like, you know, I have 3 at home. So, and my daughter will say, well, I don't feel like doing this right now, Daddy. I want to do this right now, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I've got 0 discipline with my daughter. So it's kind of like, how strict should we be about like, no, this is the schedule. We're sticking with this, you know?
Honestly, this is what has always worked for me, even as a classroom teacher and definitely as a mom. I have conversations with my kids, right? And I go into the conversation knowing what I want the outcome to be. So even though I'm asking you what you think, let's say, for example, your consequence should be, I already have come up with 3 consequences in my head. So I'm going to guide the conversation to what I already have in my head, but I'm making you feel like you're a part of that conversation. So when it comes to the schedule, I had a conversation with my kids. Okay, what did you like doing when you were in school? One of my girls said, oh, I like when we did science experiments. So I already knew in my head that science was going to be on our schedule, but now I'm purposely putting it in the beginning because this is something that she likes to do, right? What was your least favorite subject? Oh, I didn't really like math that much. I already knew math is on my schedule, but now that she's saying, okay, I really don't like it that much, well, let me put that right after science, because you're already at this high because you really like science. I'm gonna put math right under that because I'm gonna kind of work off of your high, and we're gonna move into math after that. So the structure is good, and I'm big on structure and consistency. However, it doesn't have to be math every day, Monday through Friday. But as long as you know from 8 to 8:30, learning is taking place, The content to me doesn't really matter, because your brain is already processing that I'm going to work during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that content is, it's not that big of a deal because my brain already knows that it's going to be working.
Mm-hmm.
So what that work is may not be that huge of a deal. But I also would suggest that you tie incentives to it. What do you like to do? You like to watch other kids play with toys on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Bet. Got you. You like to watch TikTok. Bet. Got you. You like to polish your nails. Whatever. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. You do this math assignment from 8 to 8:40. 8:45 to 9:15, you watch TikTok. 9:15, come back and let's work. So it's kind of like putting these soft rules in place. That's what I would suggest for parents. Put some soft rules in place. You want a snack? Okay, 8:20, 8:40, do your math lesson. 8:45, go get a snack. Now, if you don't do what you're supposed to do from 8:20 to 8:40, there is no snack. We're gonna keep working.
She said there is no snack. Oh, wow.
It's not a necessity. You don't need a snack.
Right.
But
right.
something that can be your incentive, right? Even with like adults, sometimes we say, hey, if I lose 10 pounds, I'm gonna treat myself to some frozen yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I lose X amount of pounds, I'm gonna buy whatever. That's the same thing for our kids. They need something as an incentive.
Mm.
They really, especially with being home, like you need to give me something.
And do you feel like this, like, so if you have more than one, so like I have 3, you and I was just talking about that. Are you looking for like a general strategy across all 3? Or are you trying to do that thing that people talk about, making it special for each one? Like each, are you doing the same rules for all the kids so that they share the rules? Or, do you doing little individual stuff with each one?
Yeah, it kind of has to be individualized. And for parents, this is where I'm getting hard on parents. And this is my teacher side kicking in.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Because if you think about it, when we're in the classroom, a lot of times we have to individualize for 50 to 30 kids sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You don't have 50 children in your house.
Mm-hmm.
So
we got 3.
Individualize for about 3 to 6, and some families have 6. Don't fight me on that. Because
right.
When you came to my parent-teacher conference, you wanted to know why Taekwon wasn't in the reading group he was supposed to be in. Well, Taekwon wasn't in that group, ma'am, because I have to work with him on XYZ. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking you now, that same energy you brought me, right? When I was differentiating with your kid in the classroom, I need you to keep that same energy at home, right? So if that means you have 3 kids and this doesn't take long. It honestly takes like 5 to 7 minutes. And you can create a chart. So you have 3 kids, you just have 3 different charts. A red, yellow, and a blue, right? And 3 different kids. These are the incentives that you get when you do XYZ. And I promise you it's not going to take long, because kids like telling you what they want. Right? If you have your kids write Christmas lists, it don't take them long. They whip that thing up and quick, fast, and hurry, because I like telling you what I want, right? So if you have these different kids and you're going to have different learning styles, you're going to have different personality traits, you're going to have all these different things. But what you all have to understand is it's not different from the classroom teacher. We had all of these plus more when we were in the classroom, right? So I need you all to know that it can be done. And you can do it. It's just going to take some pre-planning. And you can't be, and I'm already not a really passive mom type of mom at all. I'm very just like on top of them. So if you're already not that parent and they're already in a new situation and they're already not, like, you're going to have to kind of put your foot down in certain situations, or they will treat you like a parent instead of like a teacher. So they will be like, oh no, dad, whatever. Like, I ain't feel like doing this page today. Like, and if you're like, oh, move along, love you anyway. Like, that's not, and that's the conversation that we were having about our kids going back and being further behind, or seeing that slide in progression. That's going to happen if we're very passive. So you can't be very passive.
That's one of the things that I'm really worried about and interested in is
Mm-hmm.
what we can do as parents. Well, first of all, how worried should
Mm-hmm.
we be about keeping our kids on track, the actual track that they were already on? Because I'm afraid that, like, you know, if you were just hanging on already and we've
Mm-hmm.
interrupted your school year like this now, that means for next year, for the fall of 2020 and 2021, we have a problem that we're
Yeah.
going to face, right? So what I'm thinking with my kids right now is I don't know how they cannot fall behind if they were doing something very structured at school with an educator every day. And here I am now, not an educator, using these tools and all these resources that people are giving us to help them, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to match up to what they would have been doing right at this time. I mean, do you have any thoughts about how much pressure we should feel as parents to keep them on the same track that they were already on when they were in school? I
My
see
honest
that
thoughts.
smile. Yeah. What's your honest thoughts? No, tell me your
So
not honest thoughts. Yes, tell me your honest thoughts.
so you and I both know, right? The conversations and the research and the things that we do already, as it pertains, maybe to not the kids in our home, but the kids in other homes, right? So we have I would say two type of kids we're dealing with right now. We have those kids that are home with us that were on track, and that no matter what we do, they will be on track, right? And then we have the other kids that have come home to us that were off track already. Their teachers weren't doing what they're supposed to do. Their schools weren't doing what they're supposed to do. So now, honestly, I feel like now we're in a position where we can teach our kids and where we can get them on track, and when we can actually give them material and things that are going to build on a foundation that they weren't getting in the classroom. Like for my daughters, and I give this testimony all the time. My daughters are in 3rd grade, but we do 1st and 2nd grade math because their foundation in math is not there. And that didn't come from being home with me every day. That came from being in school every day, right? So I think for parents, we have to realize that in some instances, not in all, because there were awesome educators that were doing awesome things, but in some instances, we're giving these schools too much credit, right? We're saying, oh, they're going to miss this, and oh, they're going to miss that. When in the reality, they were at school on Go Noodle and dancing and watching movies and not really learning anything. So now when they're home with us and we're like, oh, my child is in 5th grade, but he doesn't even know his sight words. Like, what's going, like, I feel like a lot of that is happening right now. I feel like more of that is happening than, oh, my child isn't going to be ready when they go back. I feel like I'm hearing more conversations about, oh, I thought my child knew their shapes. Oh, I thought my child knew their colors. Oh, I thought, what is a sight word, right? What is a 10 frame? How do I find out what syllables are? So I feel like now we're actually having more conversations about how our kids are not on track and how do we get them on track and why are they not on, what has been taking place in this school. So now I'm at home confused. My child is confused. What do I do with all of this confusion? But just going back to what I originally said, I think the kids that are on track and the kids that were proficient and they knew the content and they understood it, I don't feel like these kids are going to have any problems. I feel like what we're dealing with right now and what I hope is happening right now is that our eyes are open to the fact that we were sending our kids into environments where we thought they were learning. And now that they're here with us, we realize, oh, my kids don't know about money. I'm talking about my kids, right? They don't know about money. I'm teaching them about coins. I'm teaching them about all these things. And as the educator, I'm just like, oh, well, I thought you guys knew things. And I feel like for them, and I feel like what schools have done to us as parents is that they sent grades home for this particular strand of information. And my kids knew that a quarter was worth 25 cents, but they didn't know how much 2 quarters and a nickel's worth. And I feel like we took that information and we were like, oh, okay, then my kid knows about money.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, that wasn't the case.
So you might see a situation now where you have parents, you have a situation where parents might start figuring out that that they're not as disabled in helping their kids as they thought, that maybe they've been putting too much trust in the schools in the first place.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Really?
absolutely. And that's that's really why when I was in the classroom, I already made videos for my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But when I decided to leave the classroom and start a business, I was like, there is a huge, huge disconnect. Like, Linda, listen to me. Disconnect, guys. You don't know what your kid is learning about, and you need to know. And I was preaching that since May 2019. And now here we are with COVID-19 in 2020, and parents are just like, oh my gosh, I don't know about this. And I'm just like, I'm trying not to be that I told you so person, but I'm just like, if you guys were listening to me, you would know how to count syllables, right? You would know what a 10 frame is. You would know about place value. You would know to stop saying carry to one because that's not proper math language. Like, you would know these things already. But because you didn't listen, and now we're at this point where it's just like, I've been preaching education is life and death, y'all. It's life or death. But now that they're home with us,
mm-hmm.
and we have no choice but to teach, right? We have no choice but to expose them to some type of learning, some type of information. Now everybody, now most people are just like, oh, I see what you were saying. We have no choice.
Mm-hmm. So in one way, we have been looked at as parents as having a deficit of not being involved enough, not knowing enough, and whatever. And we are right now, as you and I are talking about, this whole conversation is about how inadequate we might be feeling. But you actually probably see us as more capable than that. It sounds like what you're saying right now. Yeah, we should have all along seen ourselves as more capable. But what are the resources right now for us? And when I say us too, I want to be specific here. There are a lot of parents that are going to be having trouble right now. Even more affluent, well-resourced parents are going to be having a little bit of a challenge right now figuring this out. But specific to Black families and families in communities that are marginalized and already have been having a rough time with the schools, what do you think should be like the number one? What are the resources? And is there anything different about the frame we should have versus the frame that the general population might have? I mean, what's different for us than it is for everybody else?
Sorry, I'm trying to get one side of my face to
You look good. You look fine.
Okay. So first things first, and this is what I have been saying ever since they shut schools down. Stop downloading every worksheet. Stop clicking on every link. Stop clicking on every video. Stop joining every group.
See, it's like you're in my head right now. I'm doing all this right now.
Stop.
You're telling me to stop.
Stop.
Okay. I'm doing all these things right now, what you just said. Every single one. Check, check, check. Doing all of those. So don't do them. Okay.
Don't, please.
Okay.
Don't.
All right.
2. So stop doing everything you're doing if you download it because your brain can't take all that. It's new for the kids and it's new for us, right? I haven't downloaded anything new. I haven't opened any links. I haven't joined any groups. I haven't done any of that because it's going to be too much, right? So stop. That's the first piece of advice. Second thing, as it relates to Black and brown children, as it relates to marginalized families, there's a difference between your child's grade level and your child's learning level, right? And this is something I have been saying as well. Just because your child is in 4th grade doesn't mean you should be downloading 4th grade worksheets, right? Just because your child is in 4th grade doesn't mean you should watch 4th grade videos. If your child's teacher is as involved as they should be, they should have sent you a reading level, which is either Lexile or Fontes and Pinnell. They should have sent you a math level, which is either Quantile or or it's by whatever test they're taking, like a RIT.
Okay, so let me stop you there for a second. Let me just stop you there for a second. What question would we ask to get those two things? You said a reading level.
So what's my reading level?
Okay, what's my reading level? That's a question we would ask. Okay.
What's my child's reading level?
Okay.
And what's my child's math level? Okay. Or what math assessment do you take? Because I know for us in South Carolina, we still do the math assessment.
Okay. Yeah.
And we do math inventory. Right? So with those two things, you're going to get a level. And what you can do with that level, so using my kids, for example, right? They're in 3rd grade, but their lifestyle level is in the 5th grade range. So I know as a parent, I can download 5th grade reading material for them. But their math level is like beginning 2nd grade. So I know that even though my child is 8 years old and my child is in the 3rd grade, my child needs 2nd grade material. Right? So that's what Black parents really need to understand, because a lot of times our students are the ones that are grade levels behind. So even though your 3rd grade child brought home a 3rd grade packet, that doesn't mean you should be working in that packet. If you don't know what their learning level is, because that child may need you to go back to 2nd grade and build on that foundation.
Is there a way for you to figure this out? If so our teachers, we're in contact with our teachers. So if we emailed them today, they would get back to us within a day or so. But if that's not your case, is there a way to figure this out? Is there a different thing you can do? How would you figure this out if your teacher's not involved with you?
Right. So the quickest thing that you can do, and I have to find a way to share this resource with you, because I just shared it with my parents and my Fundamentals of Learning community. But I will say, right off the top of my head, if your child is in 3rd grade, they should be reading 90 words per minute. Okay, so that's very simple. You download a passage and you set a timer for a minute. If they read 90 words, then you continue to build on their 3rd grade reading skills. They may even be able to read beginning 4th grade material. But if they do not read 90 words a minute, you need to scale back and you need to go back to 2nd grade. And you need to have them read.
You said download a passage. So you download a passage, you have them read it the best that they can, and you time them like with a stopwatch as they're doing it? Is that what you do? And you're looking for 90 words per minute at least. And this is what grade? This is how?
This is
3rd grade? Okay. Okay. So it's not like it's not a test you can have them take online or something like that. This is a way you can just do it yourself with the stopwatch.
Yes, okay. But there is also a test that you can take as well. And it's called easycbm.com. And I'm almost 1,000% sure that it's free. And what that does is it has, and I'm a little weary on sharing that, because you do have to actually, you do have to know, you have to have a little bit of background knowledge when you're using it. But if you just download a passage and you just mark where they stop and you just count those words, that'll give you a little something to work with. But also if you have, and let me put the disclaimer out there, I'm true pre-K to 5th grade. Right. So everything that I say is in this elementary bubble. But it's crucial because it's still the foundation. So another thing that you can do if your teacher is not communicating with you properly, you can have them read, and you can also have them read anything for a minute. And if there is not 90% accuracy, then that passage or that book is too hard. And the way that you figure it out is just by timing for a minute. If they do 17 out of 25, put that in a calculator. I think that's somewhere like 60 something percent. Then whatever they just read is not on their grade level. So that's something else quick and easy that you can do. For math, it's something that I could share with you as well. That's called a math running record.
Mm-hmm.
So that will let you know not only can they add, but how do you think about math, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something big that I suggest to parents, because when we talk about math, it's not what's 3 plus 4 is 7, but can you show me what 3 plus 4 looks like? Can
Mm-hmm.
they model that? Can they
Mm-hmm.
put it on the number line? Can they put it in a 10 frame? Can they show it to you on a hundreds chart? Right. So it's just a matter of
Wait a
having.
second now. Let's stop. Now you're getting real fancy. So,
Yeah, sorry.
can they show you what it looks like? Is that like where
Sorry.
they say like 7 plus 4? If you have like 7 cookies and you
Mhm,
have 4 cookies, how
mhm.
many cookies would you have together? Is it like when you say modeling? Do you mean something so simple like that, or something
So that's a word problem.
hard than that?
So what you did just now was an example of a word problem.
Okay, word problem.
What I mean by modeling is go get 3 sneakers
Mm-hmm.
and go get 4 sneakers
Mm-hmm.
and line them up and tell me how many in all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Draw a picture.
Mm-hmm.
So mom gives me 3 cookies, draw 3 cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Mom gives me 4 more cookies, draw 4 cookies. That's modeling.
Mm-hmm.
Draw a 10 frame, and a 10 frame is just a rectangle with 10 boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Show me what 3 looks like on a 10 frame. Show me what 4 looks like on a 10 frame. How many altogether?
Okay, see, this is something right here where I already think that parents need a resource. They need
Right.
something to like a link that they click on that helps them with this part. Because this sounds simple enough to me, but I'm sure in 10 minutes after this, I will forget the difference between a word problem and modeling or whatever. But so it'd be nice to have something just to click into,
Right.
and find out more about that.
Right. And another thing I was going to say too is I actually go live on my Facebook page every day and I do a lesson. So I've done a lesson on word problems. I've done a lesson on counting, right? So that they can actually watch and rewatch and show their kid, okay, this is how you need to model, because a lot of states, whether they use Common Core or not, the basis of a lot of our standards right now is Common Core.
I was going to ask you about that. How is that? This is from a layperson. This is what you're going to hear from parents, me included. I don't know what this is. Like, like when your kid, this isn't how I learned it. Like your kid is telling you, in some cases, they're laughing at you like, Dad, that's not how you do this. And you're looking at them like, you realize I helped bring you into this world.
Right.
Like, you don't be laughing at me. Like, you eat because I exist, because I know how to count. But, they're getting all kind of bossy with it. Dad, that's not how you. Now, I understand a little bit of the rationale behind Common Core, but I don't think that every parent is going to have anything other than that initial problem that I have, which is your kid looking at you saying, kind of like, I don't know what you're doing, Dad or Mom, but that's not how you can't help me, because that's not how we're doing things, right? And then you're gonna have parents that are against Common Core at this point. I've been a long time supporter of it, and I made a joke recently until it came home, right? Like in terms of policy, I think it's good for everybody in terms of policy. When it came home with my kids, that's a step too far. Is there something you think we should do in terms of even like go find out about what that is, what the Common Core is, so that you know what it is? Educate yourself on that.
It's loaded.
No, it's loaded. Okay.
It's loaded. Don't even look at them.
Okay.
I would say honestly, to just whatever that topic is, research that topic. But I'm not at all suggesting that you go on commoncore.com and you read the standards for that grade level, because there are the standards, and then there are the unpacked standards, and then there are the illustrations that go with the standards, and it's a lot as an educator. So I know if don't even do it. Don't. I would suggest if your kid is working on fractions, then you go to Google and you type in whatever fractions. But don't go to the actual document and try to weave through, and because it's a lot. It feels like a lot.
It feels like a lot. And I like what you
Don't do
said
it.
earlier about being smart about finding out where your kid is on grade level or not as part of this, because that's advice that we could use now. It's also advice we could have used before the schools closed, and it's advice that we'll be able to use if the schools ever open up. You know, in the near term, again, we'll be able to use that as advice. I found out, like, you know, the way that many parents might find out a part of this is, we get the test every year, so we kind of know where our kids, you know, how they're doing in relation to other kids, and we know that we're not worried right now. But when I put them in a Khan Academy, I figured out, okay, baby girl, you're in third grade, so we're going to put you on a Khan Academy. I signed her stuff in Khan Academy. You could do it as a parent. You can assign it to your kids or whatnot. Signed it to her on the third grade, all the third grade stuff, right? And she got in there and she was like, Daddy, you're so funny. Like, you so funny. We did that last year type of thing. And I'm thinking, okay, all right. Well, so, and you know what? It turned out to be that with each of them, that I had to bump them up a grade or two level, but they didn't tell me right away. Like, baby girl is pretty honest as a kid. So baby girl told me, like, right away. I think the other boys knew that they were playing me. Right.
Yeah.
They were doing the easy stuff because they didn't have to struggle with it. Right.
Right.
So it was on grade level, but they weren't struggling at all. And they were like, oh no, Dad, this is good. Yeah, I love this, blah, blah, whatnot. I wasn't paying attention to the fact that there was no struggle involved. They weren't having to stretch themselves out. So I had to bump it up a grade level. This feels like a lot. I mean, if you have one child at home, I feel like that's one challenge. But if you have multiples, different grade levels, here's the thing I didn't ask you about, because you and I have both said, we have multiples at home. We're having to figure out with each one of them what we need to do for them. But then there's the gang mentality. Like, if you had 3 kids and put them in 3 separate rooms and you went in the room and helped each one separately, that would be one thing.
That would be life.
But my 3 kids sitting at one table together, it turns into some sort of other thing. Where I have to come in and be like, whoa, 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 let's get back on task, guys, that sort of thing. I think we're learning a lot as parents in this. Are there any critical mistakes you think we could make as parents, like, as we're figuring this all out? What are some things that you might warn us against? I've heard of a couple of things that you've said in this conversation. Be flexible about the schedule. Figure out where they are on grade level and try and get adequate materials. Don't beat yourself up and think that the schools were doing so great at this before you got your kids back, right? Like,
absolutely.
See yourself as capable and powerful. Are there any things like that you think that might be really easy for us to do to make mistakes? Like, things that are predictable that we're going to do as parents and make mistakes?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that I would say is you're making a big mistake if you think you can wake up with your kid and function through the day and be okay. I suggest you create a new routine. I suggest you get up at least an hour and a half before your kids, because what I'm finding is that I had a good routine in place of getting up before my kids. So that's how I'm making it, right? Because I get up and I meditate, I read scriptures, I listen to music, I think about what my day is going to look like, and then my kids get up, right? And for you, your kids, if your kids are older, then you may be able to sleep in to like 8, maybe 8:30. But I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, right? So I'm up at least by 5 because I need to center myself, because it's a lot. Like, I'm not working, my part-time anymore. I'm not, my daughter who's conquering cerebral palsy, she's not going to therapy anymore. So it's like, if I don't wake up and I don't get myself together, I'm going to be a hot mess, right? I'm not going to give them anything. And I think the biggest mistake that we're making right now is that we have allowed this to completely throw us off. Like, if you've been going to the gym, you're not going to the gym anymore. Like, if you were doing me time, you're not doing me time anymore. But you need that, because now you have an added responsibility of educating your child to the best of your ability and for me, I'm also a spouse, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, okay, I have to give to my children as an educator. I have to give to them as a mom. I have to give as a wife. And at the end of the day, if you don't give to self, then homeschooling isn't going to happen, right? It's just not. It's not going to happen effectively because you haven't taken the time to be with self and to actually preach to self that, hey, I can get through this day, I can get through this moment, I can get through this time. And I think a lot of the advice that I've been giving lately is, if you didn't have a routine already in place, you need to put one in place for yourself now. And what will
Mm-hmm.
that routine look like during coronavirus and after coronavirus, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not the time, if you've already been in a routine, to stop doing that. And this is not the time right now to feel like, okay, I'm just going to lounge around. I'm just going to hang out. Woe is me. What's happening? Like, I feel like that's easy. That's going to be easy for us to do right now. And we can't be those people, especially if our kids are behind. Now is that Black history that y'all was so afraid, that y'all was so mad at because they ain't teaching in schools. Now is the time for you to teach that, right? Now is the time for you to say, hey, my child isn't learning how they should be learning. Now is the time for you to prove that you care. And I think that's the message that I want to send, is now is the time for you to take care of self. And now is the time for you to prove that you actually do care about your child's education and you do care about them being successful. So don't make the mistake of relying still on the school, right? And I'm an educator, but I'm going to say, if your child's teacher was terrible face to face, please expect less from the virtual version. Like, they're not
Wow.
the superstar teacher in the virtual side, because now they don't have to be in the building at a certain time, right? They don't have to probably submit lesson plans at a certain time. They don't have to go to PLC meetings. They don't have to go to staff meetings. So if you were having problems face to face, come on, like, y'all have to be realistic. Don't make the mistake of thinking in this virtual arena that they're in now all of a sudden they're going to be a superstar teacher and they're going to communicate effectively, because that's not going to happen.
You know, I heard two things in there that are really important, but they bounce off of each other. This idea that you have to like step up now and be a champion, be a learning champion for your child. Like the superpower that you should have had all along. Now it's time for it to show up, which is the, you know, my role is a parent. My responsibility is everything having to do with my child, including their intellectual development. And my rights are I should have been seen as this all along. I shouldn't have been handing my child over to a system every day and pretending like that was the end all be all of their development. It sounds like the other thing, though, that you said, that to be able to be that champion and that superhero, you have to, there's self-care work. And I hate like stuff like saying stuff like self-care, because it's become too trendy. Like these things get too trendy, you know? Yes, I'm looking for a different word, but you know, it's that old adage, you can't do for others if you can't do for yourself, right?
Can't pour from an empty cup.
Right. So what you're saying about like getting up an hour ahead of time, these are things that require plans. If I'm going to get up an hour ahead of time, that means I have to go to bed at a certain time. Right. I have to go to sleep at a time. If I have to go to bed at a certain time, that means I need a period of time between the times I put my kids to sleep and the time I put myself to sleep, where I'm planning out the next day. Right. So that gets me even further into the evening. That probably gets me closer to dinner time. And, you know, what am I going to do at dinner time to make sure that at the end of dinner, I'm not doing everything, like in terms of wrapping and cleaning everything up? What that actually, all of this that we're saying right now, to actually be a very good self-care person so that you could be a good champion, feels like it requires a lot of thinking about, like, I used to go to the gym. Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't go to the gym, right? Like, I don't like sweat and people and bacteria and all that type of stuff. I don't know. I never understood like having to go somewhere to run, right? Like, can I pay you $50 so I can come in here and run, right? Like,
discipline. They need to leave home. They need that discipline.
I mean, you know, the other element that I need to add to this is, you know, you want to be a champion, do your role, your rights, or your responsibility, your rights. That's your parent. That's your parent profile. Taking care of
Right.
yourself so that you can do that is another part of this. The additional kind of frame, though, to all of this is how we're in uncharted territory right now. And there's fear, and there's jobs on the
Mhm.
line. There's economics that are about to that are in
Yeah.
the mind. You know, that's in your mind right now. If you're a parent and you're smart, you better be thinking about the fact that aside from everything else you and I just talked about, there's a challenge
Mhm.
for a lot of people to understand what next month is going to look like in terms of keeping
Mhm.
the lights on, having a place to
Mhm.
live. Right. I feel
Right.
like God has blessed me in my life. God is overwhelmingly blessed me in my
Mhm.
life. And one of
Mhm.
the blessings that I have is a line of sight on the fact that not everybody else is blessed. Right.
Absolutely.
You know, they're
Mhm.
blessed in other ways, but they're this ability to just make a routine and to,
Mhm.
like set up their day for their kids and all that stuff in some cases feels like a luxury. Um,
Mhm.
is there anything you would say to the parent that doesn't have a lot of support?
Mhm.
Doesn't have people don't believe in them a lot
Mhm.
that they're even capable of doing this, but in their
Mhm.
heart of hearts, they know they are. They just need some encouragement. They just
Mhm.
need some. That's it. You know, they just need some encouragement to do the
Right.
right thing. What would you
Right.
say to that parent?
Yeah. First things first, it's just kind of like you all say, like even on the Eight Black Hands podcast, a lot of times is they have to find allies, right?
Mm,
And I think a part of the reason, or major part of the reason why I have established this routine or I can do it is because I have a group of people every morning at 6 a.m. that I'm on an accountability call with, right? And it has nothing to do with coronavirus, anything like that. This is just something that has been put in place as a part of the Breathe University community that I'm a part of through Eric Thomas's company. So it's really being around people that are like-minded, right?
mhm,
So if you're around people that are completely frustrated with the economy, completely frustrated with, are my bills going to get paid? Am I going to have enough food? Am I what am I think you have to be around people that are thinking, okay, no matter what, God is going to make a way. Whether that's me bringing the beans and you bringing the rice and somebody else bringing the meat, like you just have to be around people that have that sight of it's going to be okay. Because if
mhm,
you're around doom and gloom people right now, you're going to be in that doom and gloom state, right? So even if it's just going on Facebook and seeing who's on Facebook speaking positivity, let me friend this person and let me talk to them as a way to get through. And just even going to the grocery store before I got on this call with you, I'm just like, I thank God that even though I'm not working my part-time, like I still can go to the grocery store and feed my family. But what about the people that aren't? Just like you said, what about people that are struggling right now? What does their day-to-day look like? And I will honestly say this is the time to really focus on community. Like I said, who has something that my little bit and their little bit can come together and we can make something out of it, right?
mhm,
It's
mhm,
it's not a time to be in the state of, oh my gosh, like what am I gonna do? Because I am in my faith, I just believe I haven't been given the spirit of fear. So even if I was down to my last right now, I would still believe and I would still have somebody I could call to say, hey, can you pray for me? Or
mhm.
can you do a scripture to help me get through this time right now? So it's really being intentional about the relationships that you're in right now. And if you're not in relationships with people, and not just romantic ones, just friendships with people that are going to pour into your life and into your situation, then you're setting yourself up to be in misery. And I think there are a lot of organizations right now that, like just 2 weeks ago, we gave fruits and we gave vegetables and we gave rice to different families in need. So now is not the time for you to sit at home and wallow and not, oh, I don't want people in my business
Mhm,
type things. Like, if your
mhm,
kids have to eat, you need to find those, you need to be open to receiving those resources. And I wouldn't even say find it, because the schools are sending out emails every day about places where you can go and pick up food, right? Now is not the time to say, oh, I don't eat that, I don't eat this. Like, you eat everything right now. Right? If you're in need, you eat it. Because we're just in this space right now where we have to go back to the place I know where we used to be as a Black community, where it was like, okay, I have this, you have this, let's put it together and make a meal, right? And make it work.
That's the gumbo philosophy, right?
Right.
You know, you got the
Right.
sausage, you got the shrimp, you know, you got the chicken, you know how to make the roux. You don't know how to make the roux, so don't make it. So don't even try it. You stay away from the pot.
Right? And bring whatever you have to the table. Maybe you don't have the food, but you know little girls around here are not going to be able to go to the hair salon. Braid some hair, right? Whatever gift, and I believe that God has given all of us gifts. Whatever that gift is that you have, serve. And I promise you'll feel better. You'll feel better.
That's the best message. That is clearly, I think that's the message that people need to hear right now. Have a reservoir of faith that you can tap into. Look for community. Be an ally that you want people to be an ally. You know, treat people the way you want them to treat you. You know, be a resource. Right now, you have people fighting for toilet paper in stores and stuff. Right? You know, what a ugly. Like, if you're ever in a store and you're throwing down over some toilet paper, you should consider where your life has brought you. You should consider like your choices. You are such, I think, I've known you for a couple of years now, and you are always so positive and so helpful and so supportive. And I want people to come see your work and these daily videos that you're doing. Tell everybody a little bit about how they can find you, how they can tap into the work that you're doing. Just tell them how they can get to you.
Absolutely. So I have pretty much all social media platforms. My Facebook and my YouTube channel are both under Miss Spann's Fundamentals of Learning. And my Twitter and my Instagram are both under fun_of learning. And like I said, I do lives. I actually have a classroom coming up on fractions today, but I'm also sending out daily emails, content related, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday is all about just inspiration and motivation emails. And that's something that I started due to coronavirus, but it's also something that I'm going to continue after this is done, because once we get through this season, it's going to be something new. And I'm just the one that has made the promise to be standing through it all. Like I just made a comment the other day, like when your family passes or when somebody passes away in the family, right? The fried chicken and the pound cakes are coming for the first week or two. And then by that third week, you looking around like, hey, like I'm still sad. I'm still hurting. And I just made the promise that by week 3, by week 8, by week 16, like you're still going to see my face. You're still going to hear my voice, because I've been going hard and working hard for kids before this started. And I'm going to be here afterwards as well.
That's amazing. I want to thank you for coming, to have this discussion with me this morning. Like, you are my first discussion in this series that I'm calling Freedom to Learn. I am really looking at having honest conversations every day that help us as parents specifically to take on our 3 R's, which to me is know your role, take on your responsibilities in that role, and fight for your rights. Those are the 3 things. Those are the 3 R's of parenting that I want people to know. This part that you told us today is invaluable, and I want everybody who watched this today. If you need any information on how to get in touch with Miss Spann, shoot me an email at Christopher@activist.com. That's a dope email, isn't it? Christopher@activist.com. And I can get you in touch with Isis. If you didn't hear all that she said, but she does have a daily channel that she does that I think is very helpful for parents. So again, thank you so much for coming on today.
No problem. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. And I appreciate all of you that have watched this. I didn't see any comments today. I didn't do a very good job of putting it out there and pushing like I'm a bad host, but we are going to make this work, and I will have you back again for more conversations.
Absolutely.
All right.
Anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Isis.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.